You're an office manager, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, like you're a janitor.
What it's like to start from zero.
As a business owner, as a content creator, essentially you're starting a brand new business as a freelancer.
Let's talk about what it's like as a creator to work with brands.
When you're starting a brand new business, you have to do everything yourself. And people need to understand that it is a business and you have to treat it as a business from day one. So it's really important to research to understand what they're getting themselves into.
Welcome to the Instagram Stories podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Here's how this works. I find people who are creators, brand experts, knowledgeable about social media in ways that I never could, and I get them to come on the show and share all their secrets, their best stories in about 20 minutes or so. A lot of times you are busy, you are driving to your destination, you're washing dishes or other activities, and you don't have time to listen to a 4-hour podcast. You want something that gets right to the point. In that case, you're in the right spot. If you like this kind of content, but you want something more news-focused, I also host a podcast called the Instagram Stories Social Media News, which is filled with clips from people who work at the platforms talking about the latest features that they've just rolled out. Is it my opinion? No. Well, that's not true. There's a little bit of my opinion, but mostly it's voices from people who work at the platforms. The CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan, the CEO of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Threads, Connor Hayes, and others who work at the platforms. I find clips of them explaining the latest features, put it in the show so you hear it directly from them with my 2 cents on top. If you like this kind of content, please find the Instagram Stories Social Media News wherever you get podcasts. Today on the show, we're here with Anna Mangiello, who is a UGC content creator and runs A+ Socials. Hopefully you like this interview, and if it brings you some value, please go on Apple Podcasts and leave a review of the show. It would help others to find it, doesn't cost you anything, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into today's interview. Today on the show, we're here with Anna Mangiello. Anna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anna, for people who are not familiar with you, can you tell us who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. So I am a UGC creator, content creator coach, and I do everything in between, stay-at-home mom, running a business, anything and everything content creation related.
When do you sleep? We'll get to that.
Oh, God.
For those who might be listening who do not know what UGC is and why it's so important, what is it first?
Sure. So UGC stands for user-generated content, and this is basically when regular, everyday-looking people, just like you and I, we create content, we work with brands, and we create this content without posting it on our own social media accounts. So we basically film the content, we give it to the brand, and then the brand decides how they want to use that content, whether they want to use it on their socials, for paid media ads, or whatever else purposes.
Great. I understood that already, but I'm appreciative of the way you described it. And I think one of the key things that you mentioned is that it doesn't have to be posted on your own page. So that helps people to get over the fear, right, of, oh, what if my family and friends see that I've just become an influencer and I don't really want to be that, or I don't have enough followers to maybe make it worthwhile. UGC gets around those obstacles.
Exactly. It takes like that pressure off. And especially when you're first getting into it, like everybody's content is super cringe. So people may not be comfortable showing their cringe, content to their friends and family.
That's a great point. Let's talk about what it's like as a creator to work with brands. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started doing this and what it's like from behind the camera?
Sure. So the way that I got into UGC was kind of very unconventional. Like I never dreamed about creating content. So I was a high school teacher for 10 years.
Wow.
And I've always had like a side gig of some sort of business / a part-time job on the side besides just teaching. I was bartending forever, waiting tables. And then I also had a jewelry company since 2013. We still have that jewelry company where I would design these pieces for girls that are getting married on the beach. And back in 2021, I was actually hiring UGC creators or content creators to create content for my jewelry company. And back in 2021, UGC wasn't a thing yet because small business owners like myself, we had to like entice our real customers to get us genuine UGC because we realized that UGC was driving sales. So we would like entice customers to leave picture reviews or write, short little paragraphs of their experiences, right? But like in return, we would have to give them free product or free shipping or a discount, right? And so I was buying UGC for my company. And then once I received these videos, I was like, I'm really curious how this works on the creator side. Like, I just want to know what the process is, right? And so I signed up on one of those UGC platforms myself as a creator. So I started another account. So sign up on the UGC app and apply for a bunch of random jobs to work with brands and got hired. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, now I have to actually make the video. Meanwhile, I've never made content before in my life. Like, I have content of my kids and, like
Right.
trips and things we do on the weekend, but nobody cares about that, right? So, yeah. So once I kind of got into it, I was like, wow, this could legitimately be a business. And then once more creators realized that this is actually in huge demand with brands, it kind of blew up on social media in 2022. And so then there was this boom of like UGC creators who are coming on the scene and working with brands. And I was like, wow, like there's other people like me who are doing this. And it got to the point where I was so busy with brand deals that I came to a realization that teaching full time and doing brand deals and doing my business, my jewelry business at the same time was just completely not sustainable. So I left my teaching job. My jewelry company is now completely ran by my husband, and I do UGC and UGC coaching.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that story of kind of how it started to you realizing the value that you could bring as a UGC creator.
Yeah.
Can you share first what it's like to start from zero doing this and how somebody else could do it if they are interested in UGC and want to become a UGC creator?
Sure. So, I mean, the first thing obviously is to do research, and I also think that it's important to kind of figure out what is like the ultimate end game for somebody is. Are they trying to just make a couple of $100 a month, or are they genuinely feel passionate about content? They want to possibly make this their full-time job one day. And sometimes you don't know, but it's important to kind of have like an idea of what the end goal here is, right? Because depending on your end goal will determine the next steps of the process. I think research is really important to really understand what UGC is and like what you will have to do when you are working with brands, and really deep dive into like the unsexy side of UGC, which includes a ton of admin work. Like as a business owner, as a content creator, essentially you're starting a brand new business as a freelancer. And so when you're starting a brand new business, you have to do everything yourself. Like you're not just filming content and then editing that content. You're also, doing emails. You're an office manager. You're an accountant. You're a lawyer. Like you're a janitor. Like you're all of these things. And people need to understand that it is a business and you have to treat it as a business from day one. So it's really important to research to understand what they're getting themselves into. And then treat it as a business. Come up with a business name, register your socials, study what kind of videos brands will ask you to make, and try to analyze what makes them good. Because essentially, if your content is not good, then you're going to have a hard time dealing with brands. And at the same time, if you're not a good business person, if you don't understand business, you're also are not very likely to grow and scale that business.
I'm going to ask you for stories.
Sure.
And I'm so tempted to start with the nightmare stories, but let's not scare people. So can you share a story maybe of your first brand deal or a brand deal that's gone really well or maybe better than expected before we get to the other side of the coin? Yeah.
So there's so many great experience that come to mind. I just thought about this one actually on the drive over. And one of the best collaborations I've ever had was when I had to be a cockroach.
Sorry, what?
I literally had to be a cockroach. It was for a pest control company.
I really just wasn't expecting you to say that word. I think that's why I was messed up. Please continue.
So anyways, so I work with this agency and we work together quite often. And the contact person posted like a Twitter thread asking anybody is willing to put themselves out there a little bit. And I'm like, pick me. Like, I love this stuff. And he was like, yeah, so the brand is a pest control company and they want the content to be a little bit, quote, out there. And I was like, this is my chance to become a cockroach. So I pitched my idea, which was to do a skit where I am pretending to be a new homeowner moving into a brand new house. And I'm also playing the role of a cockroach who is waiting for the new homeowner to arrive right? And they're like so excited. They're plotting how they're going to get all the crumbs and do a complete infestation, right? But then like the new homeowner comes into the house and they spray and they use the product.
Got it.
And the cockroach is completely distraught and they run out and they have to go to the neighbor's house.
Were there costumes involved?
Oh yeah.
I figured.
Oh yeah.
This is fantastic.
It was great.
I love the creativity that you got to bring to this scenario. You don't have to answer this question if you're not comfortable, but was it worth it financially to make this investment of time and thought that went into it? And was it approved by the brand by actually doing it?
Yeah, yes and yes. And the brand loved it. And to be honest with you, when I get to do collaborations like this, where I get to use my creativity and like the brand gives you like a general guideline and they're like, just run with it. Like, show us what you can do. Like, those are my favorite types of collabs because it gives me the freedom to be creative, to bring my concepts to life and then also to execute it. And it's fun. Like, it's fun. You know, like I would love to dress up as a cockroach again. I still have a costume.
Pest control companies, if you're watching this.
By the way.
Anna's interested.
I just want to say that my neighbors don't know what I do for a living. And I had to film outside. And that was quite the experience. They just think I'm like a regular stay-at-home mom, and then all of a sudden I'm just rocking out the cockroach suit in 90-degree weather in the summertime. I'm just like, yep, this is it. This is it.
Were your kids embarrassed?
They were at school.
Oh, perfect.
So they had no idea.
So now that we've heard a success story, which I love, by the way, can you share maybe a bit of a nightmare story of why you might tell people to think twice before they jump into this area?
Sure. I think that so there's been a few clients that were rather difficult, but when I was first getting into it, I really wasn't confident in my skills at first, and also in my negotiation skills, and also in just the overall idea of how like the business works, what I can push back on. And so I got on this call with a client who sold custom foam pieces. So like if you're trying to replace like couch cushions, or if you're trying to replace like any kind of foam related materials,
that makes sense.
right?
The couch
like
gets
chairs
after a while or
right,
something. Sure.
exactly. I got on the call with this company and they're like, well, we have to like be upfront with you. We change our mind all the time. And as a content creator, I'm like, all right, well, this could be a problem because of the fact that like I need to know what it is that you want me to film.
What's the expectation?
What kind of video?
Right. It? Yes.
Exactly. Like what kind of video you want me to do? What's the point of the video? Are we trying to do conversions? Are we trying to build awareness? Are we trying to build trust? Like, tell me. And they were like very like wishy-washy about the kind of content they wanted. And so, you know, the script was sent, they approved it. I filmed the content. And then when the content was submitted, they're like, oh yeah, we have to scratch everything. We change our mind. This is not what we want. So then I'm like, because I'm new, I'm like, well, you know, like, how would you expect this content to turn out? And once they gave me the revision request, it was basically required a complete reshoot, which I did at that time because I didn't know any better. And I really wanted to do a really good job. And then they turned around and they said, actually, we want the reshoot for the third time. And that was when I was like, wait a minute. Now I think that they're just taking advantage of me because they still have access to the other two videos that I made. So what's going to stop them from using the third video and possibly using it for a different purpose?
And you're not charging them per video. You're charging them for the whole project for them to sign off on the end result. Right.
Yep. Correct. So at that point, I kind of was like, all right, well, this is going to have to be compensated if you guys want me to reshoot the third video because it requires so much planning. It requires a new script, new editing, everything. And they didn't want to compensate me for, so I kind of just stood my ground and they threatened to sue me. And I was like, well, you guys actually signed my contract then. Because they did not follow the contract themselves in the beginning with the time frames and a bunch of other legalities, they just decided to walk away. And I was like, I'm happy this collaboration's done. Like, cool, but no thanks.
Just for curiosity, do you build revisions into your contracts and kind of how do you handle that?
Yeah. So every single brand collab gets a revision round or 2 rounds of revisions. It depends on what they want, to be honest with you. I'm very like easygoing when it comes to that stuff. Reshoots are typically not included, but to avoid reshoots, I script out all of the videos beforehand and I provide the script to the brand for approval so they know exactly what I'm going to be filming before I actually press record. So that way that aspect is ensures that the brand is happy. and they know exactly what's expected. So
Right.
if they want me to change a scene or, use a different script, that's their opportunity to do so at that time.
Yeah. Tell you before you film it, before you edit
Yes.
it, before you
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Right, completely makes sense. One of the things that I did want to talk about as well is your membership community and
Mhm.
your coaching. Can you talk a little bit about how you got started teaching others how to do UGC and what kind of support you provide?
Sure. So, right now I offer potential students or people that want to get into UGC a course called the 2 Hour Creator. And the whole premise of the course is to teach you how to do content creation, how to work with brands in as little as 30 days and 2 hours a day. And it's primarily geared towards people who are busy, who have responsibilities, who have a 9 to 5, who have kids, and who cannot dedicate, 8 hours a day to content creation. And they still want to get started and they still want to learn the most essential parts of the business. So that way they're set up for success and they can actually build it into something that's sustainable long term, right? Because of my teaching background and because I taught high school for 10 years, honestly, like when I got into UGC, when I made UGC my full-time job, I miss that. Like I miss that personal connection that I used to get with my students. Because when you're working out of your own house, I mean, let's be real, it can be a little bit isolating, it can be a little lonely. So I kind of pivoted into coaching because of the fact that I missed interacting with people and having that conversation one-on-one or in a group setting. And so I created my course and then eventually created my community, the A+ Creator Community, where we have weekly coaching calls and I have guest speakers come in and I post opportunities that don't align with me into the community. And my students apply for those opportunities. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's very supportive and it's specifically intended for people that are a little bit older because majority of content creators are younger females. And so there's a lot of information on how to get started in the content creation space, specifically geared for younger people, or at least, people in their 20s. But when it comes to content creation and brands hiring creators, they need all kinds of creators. And the older you are, the less competition you're going to see in the space of UGC. And
Interesting.
because there are not that many older content creators, I always say there's a supply and demand,
Right. Yeah, of course.
inequality, I guess,
Yes.
where the demand for older content creators is here.
When you say older, can you be a little more specific?
Like 30 plus, 35
Okay.
plus.
Okay.
So not that old, but
Okay.
just not people in their 20s.
Sure.
And the demand is here, but the supply is here. And so this creates like a gap in the market. And my whole point is to teach creators, potential creators who are just getting into it, how to do this in the most sustainable way that they're going to actually build a successful business out of it. That they're not just going to take this skill and then like quit 3 months later. Like
Sure.
that's not the goal.
You want them to be able to do this long term and find success with it.
Exactly. But also at the same time, keeping in mind that these people don't have all the free time in the world to do this.
Right.
So we have to like really condense the information in the most the most important topics in the least amount of time
Right.
and get the most bang for their time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced where you've created content for a brand, it doesn't go on your page, and other friends and family have seen it? Can you
Yes.
describe if that has ever happened to you? I'm saying because it's happened to me and I want to
Yeah.
talk about it. So please.
Sure. So I was actually hired by a brand with my husband, and we were making content for a very popular men's soap company. And they reached out and they wanted a borderline risque content where it required me to basically have my husband take a shower, and I happened to smell this amazing soap and I had to run into the bathroom and grab the soap and just put it next to my nose and talk about how amazing it is and eventually jump in the shower with him.
Okay.
So as you can tell, it's a little bit out there. And that ad got pushed out to so many of our friends and family members. And like we were at a family gathering and they're like, wait, we saw you doing this. And we're like, oh no, this is so embarrassing. But yeah, it happens all the time. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe people saw this ad.
And that's kind of, I think, a thing that I did not realize the first time it happened to me. So I did a UGC ad for a company, and they promoted it to not only people who are connected with me, friends, family, have my phone number, email address in their address book, but also people who interact with me at the same locations I'm at. So I experienced going different places and people saying, "Hey, I've seen your ad." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not prepared for this conversation." I asked the guy at the gym who I don't really know for a spot one day, and he said, "Sure. And by the way, I have seen your ad. It is very good." And I was just so unprepared to talk about that. It was a men's health care or hair care product. And so, obviously there's a little bit of stigma there that I wasn't quite ready to discuss with random strangers. But that is one thing about UGC that I think people don't always either realize or think about. So if you have the potential to be embarrassed because you use a product, because you're representing a brand or a product that you might not realize all your friends and family are going to find out about, it's just a good thing to know going in.
Sure, absolutely.
So Anna, can you tell us, what can we expect you to be creating and doing in 2026, and where can we follow your journey?
So my goal is to kind of shift focus a little bit away from UGC and onto my coaching business. I really would like to launch like a one-on-one membership to my community members, my followers, because what I found with working with my students is that a lot of students need help. And while my course is a self-paced course and the community does allow them the opportunity to meet with me once a week and ask me questions, sometimes that's just not enough. And so I really want to focus on providing even more value and even more of my services to my students. So I'm hoping to launch my mentorship program sometime in January, February. I'd like to figure out a way. I'm in the process of being able to shift my business where I'm truly maximizing my time. And that means automating as much as possible when it comes to client work, streamlining processes, and of course, outsourcing and hiring help. And right now I'm like 50% there, but I really want to streamline those processes even more so that way I can teach others how they can do the same and really get that time freedom. Because with UGC, you do get time flexibility because you make your own schedule. You can, have filming days on certain days. You can take off whenever you want. But the true time freedom comes with scaling, with automation, with outsourcing, streamlining. So that's kind of like the goal for 2026.
And where can we follow your journey online?
Sure. So I'm on all social media platforms at aplussocials.com, or that's my portfolio, or aplussocials on social media. Find me. I will leave you a voice message.
Anna, this has been so great having you on. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, let's get it. The year was 2013. You posted your first pic and you're glad you posted a scene. Your friends liked it too, but what you didn't know is what posting on that platform would do. Taking all your time and attention, doom scrolling. Also, let me mention, you gotta post on every platform, putting content of every set just to conform. Likes gave you validation and you got hooked. Now engagement is down, you feeling overlooked. Hey, keep coming back for more podcasts. And find me on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media. I'm gone.
So Anna, in planning this, we did a lot of voice memos back and forth, and I know that's your preferred method of communication. So how did that get to be your preferred method of communication? And what's it like to talk to brands and businesses using voice memos?
So, it wasn't always the case. And I was one of those people that had to constantly overanalyze what I was saying. When you send somebody a message or even on social media, you reach out to somebody, right? And, you have to reply back to them, that person that asked you questions, and what I found myself doing was that I was spending so much time, not only typing out a perfectly crafted response, but then also going back and proofreading. And I don't know about you, but I get in my own head about overanalyzing how certain things sound. And you don't want to come off a certain way or another way.
Right.
So I don't remember when it exactly started, but I just started to press record. And I think it started with my students first and just leaving a 5-minute rant answering their questions in detail. And people were like, wow, I didn't know that you can leave a voice message. And I was like, yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to do from now on. And that's it. And that just kind of evolved into me just replying to all messages with a voice message. So now even when a brand reaches out to me like on Instagram, or like you reached out to me on Instagram, and I just pressed record and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, let's get the details out of the way.
I think you actually said, I'm driving right now. I'm not going to be here in front of my keyboard for a long time. And this is how I mostly communicate. So if it's good with you, let's do this.
Yep.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And that's the thing, like when you're constantly on the go, like I'm always doing something, I don't have time to sit there and like overanalyze my response and making sure that it's going to sound like the best way. I just press record, I just yap away, and it's great because people get to know me personally,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and they also get to hear my intonation, my tone of voice.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the communication is a little bit more personal when it comes to that stuff. And I started to do that with my friends with text messages. I started to do that with business inquiries. And I don't know, it just takes that pressure off, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
absolutely.
It just works.
The downside is you can't easily reference a message unless you know which voice memo it is that has that
Yes.
information, especially if there's like a couple of them going back and forth over the course of a few days. It's hard to figure out which message to reference. But what's it like to do voice memos with brands and businesses? Do they respond? Do they mostly text or write a reply back, or do they voice memo you back?
It's both.
Okay.
I've had both. And I think with UGC too, I think brands appreciate it and they like it because nobody is responding with voice messages.
Right. It adds a human
Nobody's
element
doing
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a world where many people are going to put that response through AI before they send it to make sure it has the right tone and the right intonation that they want, to actually hear a human voice of, oh, this is Anna, she's a real person, this is what she really sounds like, and this is what her day-to-day interactions come across like. I think it speaks a lot.
And I think people are initially like thrown off by it a little bit because they're like, oh, wait a minute, what? I have to press play? Like, what's going to happen once I do? But I think that once they hear my initial message, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I've negotiated brand deals via voice messages before. And then, like, once you hop on a call with the same brand, it's like they already know what you sound like,
Yeah.
and you already know what they sound like. So it just takes that pressure off. It feels like you're hopping on a call with a friend versus a brand or
Right.
whoever else.
So you're skipping a lot of
Yeah.
steps in that process.
Yeah.
Do you mostly do voice memos from the car, and do you find like the audio quality is the same?
Voice messages from the car suck, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
you're driving.
And it's Bluetooth and
Yeah, but also at the same time, like sometimes I'll see a message, and if I don't reply to it right away, it's gone. It's gone out of my memory. It's gone out of my unread messages.
right.
It's gone. And so I have to like press record and I have to reply. Like a lot of the times I'll be driving from the gym back to my house, and that's, you know, when I'll read something and then I'll just press record and then yap away and then press send and then done. I don't have to think about it again.
And do you ever listen to voice memos at 1.5 or 2x to get through
Yes,
quicker?
all the time. All the time. Because, you know, I talk a lot, and I'm sure, I am hoping my students are also listening to me at 1.5/2.0 because God, I know I go on tantrums. But yeah, it saves so much time too. You know, it's great.